You were talking about SmackDown earlier. You're saying SmackDown is probably the best programming that WWE is putting on as of late, and I agree with that sentiment as well. And on SmackDown, we had a huge development. The rated R superstar, as I mentioned earlier, turned heel officially, blasting Roman Reigns with a chair, trying to concerto Daniel Bryan after Daniel Bryan was officially added to the match at WrestleMania, making the Universal title match a triple threat match in the main event of night 2 of WrestleMania. So we talked about what this meant for Bryan and why, Bryan might actually end up having to win this match last week. We talked about, what if this happened. We don't have to ask what if now. It's happened. It's happening. And now Edge is working WrestleMania officially as a heel. It's not a tweener thing anymore. He's a full-on heel because he literally tried to concerto Daniel Bryan, a man who has a history of concussions, who had to retire because of concussions. So I don't think there's any room to for interpretation there. But what do you think about this turn by Edge and this storyline?
With this turn by Edge and this storyline, they may have just saved the belt for Edge. Um, Honestly, like we were saying last week, it had to be something big for Edge to even win the belt because you have one of the biggest baby faces at possibly added to the match. And like you said, now it's not a possibility. He is added to it. But with this heel change, might possibly win the belt now. Only because when Edge was a heel, he was at his best. I mean, he was good regardless. But when Edge was a obnoxious, so-called surfer boy with Christian, they won the tag team championship many times. When he was doing unspeakable things, the leader on national TV, he won the heavyweight championship many times. Like
Yep.
when he is at his best, when he's a heel. So that might be the little wrinkle that Vince McMahon accidentally stumbled upon
Mm.
to keep Edge the victor of this match.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I agree. So, well, I agree with some of it. I still think at the end of the day, Daniel Bryan as the face is gonna end up winning because I look again. I'm biased. Daniel Bryan's like to me the greatest wrestler ever, but I it's gonna be hard for them to get away with unless the reaction they're looking for is for to get booed out of the building.
Right.
It's gonna be hard for them to, not put the belt on Bryan at this point because the way he's being built up is everything's against him now. It's literally very similar dynamic to WrestleMania 30, almost the same dynamic as WrestleMania 20, with that triple threat. And what we're seeing is, like there's one obvious face, and then the other two are big heels. And in Roman Reigns' case, he's actually I think lost a little bit of luster as of recently. Yeah, he's the champion, and he hasn't really been put in the same spotlight as Edge. I think the Edge and Daniel Bryan dynamic as of recent weeks has kind of overshadowed that. And this is in the midst of Roman Reigns being in the greatest run of his career. It's in the midst of Roman Reigns coming off of at Fastlane. I think his and Daniel Bryan's one of their best performances ever.
Yeah.
So like it's weird to me still a little bit the dynamic that they're going with, and I think like I think it would have worked itself out, right? Like this whole thing would have worked itself out better if there were fans at the shows preceding WrestleMania. Because right now it's hard to get a feel of like it's kind of everyone has their own emotion, right? You kind of have your own emotion. There's no really group think. There's no really like oh well, what are the other fans thinking kind of this or what's hot? Like you kind of have to decide for yourself. And I think that's why like you're seeing a lot of people have these different opinions about this feud. Like so for me, I like turning Edge as a heel because I think it's the only way you get to the eventual conclusion of this match, which is Daniel Bryan winning the Universal title, and hoisting it up as the mega babyface of WrestleMania 37. Now, is that gonna happen? I'm also like, I agree with you on this. I don't think that's gonna be that's the plan for that. I think the plan is still to roll with Edge. I think this was kind of done as a realization of like what we were talking about last week. Like, oh shit, we forgot Bryan. We put Bryan in this. I literally
Right.
think they forgot.
Right.
I will never like say admit like you know they were like, oh, this was all part of the plan. I literally think at one point they were like, fuck, we did it again.
No, I totally agree with that. I honestly believe that at this point you almost have to put the belt on Bryan. But as you said before, I'm also biased. I am an Edge head. I've been an Edge fan for a very long time. And when he came out in Royal Rumble, I think I was just as loud as everyone at the arena. But I honestly believe that the way they did it, which was completely by accident, like you said before, they have to give the belt to Bryan. But turning Edge heel might help the situation just a little bit because you have two heels. One has a history of being a heel in Edge, and the other one is a heel that got fed up with being a face and became a heel. And he's
Mm,
also having one of his greatest runs, like you said. Honestly, this is the best Roman Reigns I've ever seen. Honestly,
agreed. Agreed.
even beginning Roman Reigns when he was with part of the Shield, like he talked a little bit, but he was kind of quiet. You mainly focused on Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, but
Facts. Yeah.
with this being one of his best runs, I honestly believe having a match with two of the best performers that you can have at this moment with Daniel Bryan and being Edge, I think this is going to be a great match for all three, honestly. And I
I,
still do agree that that to make it believable, Bryan will have to win the belt.
You have to put the belt on Bryan. You can't. You're gonna get booed out of the building. If you don't, and it's not gonna be a good conclusion to WrestleMania being back. Damn it.
Right, you know.
Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.